You ever look down at your own wedding ring and suddenly think, wait a minute, this was never supposed to be mine? Yeah, that's when my whole world ripped wide open. Okay, so I guess I should start at the beginning, huh? Because if I just go straight to the end, it sounds like some wild soap opera, and honestly, I never thought my life would be that kind of story. But here we are. My name's Jess. I'm 29 years old, and I'm from Portland. I do marketing work. I'm an animal aficionado of the canine species, and I have this rainy day and used bookstore fixation. I was never that girl who dreamed up her big day when she was a kid, but I always figured that I'd just know when I met him. You know, that moment when you're like, oh, this is it. This is my guy. And for a moment, I really thought that dude was Matt. Matt and I met at a friend's Halloween party, actually. He was Han Solo, and I was some hastily constructed Wednesday Addams. He made a snarky comment about my resting murder face, and I laughed so hard I wine-snotted out my nose. Not a Hollywood meet-cute situation or anything, but it was real. He was real. He was intelligent and witty, and he possessed this gift for creating the perception that I was alone in the room. We started dating, and it was easy. Like, scary easy. We'd spend hours talking about everything and nothing. He'd cook for me, badly, but with so much heart. We'd binge-watch old sitcoms, go on long walks with his dog, Luna, and just be together. I'd never had that before. That comfort. That sense of being seen. I remember this one night, maybe 6 months in. We were lying on his couch, my head on his chest, and he just blurted out, I think I'm falling in love with you. And I felt it too. I said it back to him. It was the first time I'd ever said it and really meant it. We moved in together a year afterwards. Everyone told us it was fast, but it was perfect for us. We constructed this little house. Plants everywhere, various mugs stacked randomly, magnets on the fridge with silly places we never went. It was home. But okay, here's where I must be honest. There was always this shadow. Her name was Emily. Emily was Matt's ex. They had been together for years. She was his first everything, he said. They'd split up a year prior before we met, and he swore they were done, that they were just friends now. And I believed him. I wanted to believe him. But sometimes I'd catch him looking at old photos on his phone, or he'd mention something Emily used to say, and I'd get this strange, twisty feeling in my stomach. I told myself I was paranoid, insecure. I mean, everybody's got a past, right? I do too. But there were little things, such as he never wanted to talk about why they had split. Or the way, when we'd see her at a club one night, he went all weird and silent. But I brushed it aside. I trusted him. I loved him. Flash forward to last fall. We were together almost 3 years. My friends started dropping hints. So, when's he going to put a ring on it? And I just waved them off. I wasn't in a rush. But yeah, I did consider it. I thought about it a great deal. And then one night, I saw him on his computer, looking at engagement rings. He closed it like a slam when I opened the door, all flushed. I teased him about it, and he just smiled and said, guess the surprise is ruined. I had this surge of excitement like, asterisk, oh my god, this is actually happening. A few weeks later, he started acting off, secretive. He'd disappear for hours on the weekends, saying he was running errands. He'd flinch if his phone rang. I didn't want to overthink it. I figured he must be plotting something romantic. But then one evening, I saw a message pop up on his phone as he was showering. It was from Emily. I know. I shouldn't have looked, but I did. And it just said, let me know how it goes. She's going to love it. My stomach fell. I tried to tell myself it was nothing. Maybe she was talking about something else. Maybe I was being crazy. But that feeling, the one in your belly that you can't shake, it was there. And it was resonating. A week after, Matt invited me to dinner at this little Italian place we both used to love. He was fidgety, agitated, barely touching his food. I knew something was amiss. We walked along the river after supper. The city lights were reflecting off the water, and it was one of those perfect, chilly nights when you can actually see your breath. He stopped, took my hands, and started talking about our life together, how much he cared for me, that he couldn't exist in his world without me. And then he got down on one knee. He pulled out a ring. It was beautiful, dainty, old-fashioned looking, with a sapphire in the center. Not my choice, but it was beautiful. I was so swept up, I barely noticed him ask, will you marry me?
I said yes.
I of course said yes. I was crying, he was crying, someone was applauding. It was everything I had ever imagined. But as he slipped the ring on my finger, I had that twist in my stomach again. That little voice saying, something's not right. We drove home, and I couldn't look away from the ring. It was so precise. Not my style, but beautiful. I posted a picture on Instagram, and in moments my phone blew up with messages. One of them was from a girl I barely knew, an old college friend of Emily's. She just wrote, "Wow, that ring looks familiar. Didn't Emily have one just like it?" My heart stopped. I scrolled back through Emily's old Instagrams. And there it was. A picture from 2 years ago. Her hand, wearing a ring that looked exactly like mine. Same vintage setting. Same sapphire. I felt sick. I waited until Matt fell asleep, sneaked into the living room, and called my best friend, Rachel. I was quiet, trying not to wake him, and I just blurted it out. "I think Matt proposed with a ring his ex-girlfriend chose." Rachel was quiet for a moment, and then she said, "Jess, you need to ask him. You can't just sit on this." I barely slept a wink that evening. I would just sit there and stare at the ring, turning it round and round in my hand, asking myself if I was losing my mind. The following morning, I made myself some coffee and sat in the kitchen across from Matt. I was shaking in my hands. "Can I ask you something?" I asked. He looked up, sleepy-eyed and gentle. "Of course." "This ring, did you pick it out? Or Emily?" He just stood there. I mean, froze. Like someone had hit the pause button on him.
"What?"
"Why would you?" "Matt, please, just tell me the truth." He glared at his coffee, and I could see his jaw lock. He didn't say anything for a very long time. Then finally he sighed. She assisted me in choosing it. I wanted to make it special. She's very informed about jewelry, and I didn't want to make a mistake. I scowled at him. "You got your ex to choose my engagement ring?"
He winced.
"It's not like that, Jess. I wanted it to be perfect. She has great taste. I thought you'd appreciate it." I watched this torrent of anger and humiliation sweep over me. Did you ever think about what I would want? Or did you simply want to make sure Emily would be okay with it? He shook his head, but he could not look at me. "I'm sorry. I didn't realize it would matter." I put the ring down on the table. My hands were shaking so hard I came close to dropping it. "It matters, Matt. It matters a lot." The rest of the days were a blur. I stayed with Rachel for a while. I couldn't even gaze at the ring and not feel sick. I couldn't even gaze at Matt. He called. He texted. He left messages on my voicemail, begging me to come home, to talk to him, to forgive him. He told me it meant nothing, that it was nothing but a ring, that he loved me. But I couldn't help but think about it. About how he'd gone to her with something that was supposed to be about us. About how he'd opened her up to this moment that was supposed to be ours. I continued to run it over in my head. Every time we had spoken, every odd stare, every time he had said her name. I couldn't shake the idea that I'd ever really been his first choice. Or that I was just the best of the rest. I cried. A lot. I felt silly and angry and so small. Rachel tried to comfort me. She told me, maybe he just didn't know any better. Maybe he really thought he was being right. But I couldn't shake the feeling I was living someone else's scenario. That I was married in another woman's ring, entering another woman's world. I started to question everything. Was I good enough? Was I just an imposter? Did he still love her? Did he ever even love me? I needed to forgive him. I needed to get on with it. But every time I looked at that ring, I felt like I was wearing a lie on my finger. Matt showed up a week later at Rachel's apartment. He was ugly looking, hadn't slept in days. Pleaded with me to return home, to listen, to give him another chance. I listened. I heard him out. Spewed all the right jargon. He was sorry, he loved me. He'd do anything to make it work. But I knew something, sitting on Rachel's couch with the stupid ring still clutched in my hand. It wasn't about the ring. Not really. It was about trust. About feeling like I was enough. About trusting that at the moment when it really counted, he'd pick me. And he hadn't. I gave him back the ring. My hands weren't shaking anymore. "I can't do this, Matt. I can't marry you. Not like this." He started crying. I came very close to crying too. But I didn't. I left. I went home, boxed up my stuff, and began again. It hurt. God, it hurt. For weeks, I lived with a hole in my chest. I missed him. I missed our life. But I didn't miss the sensation of being second best. I started going to therapy. I invited my friends out and resumed jogging. I did more with my friends. I learned to be alone and to be fine with it. And gradually, I started to feel like me again. I realized that I'm better than a ring picked by someone else. I'm better than being second best. I'm better at being loved, full and whole, for what I am.
So yeah,
That's my story. It's not the happy ending I had envisioned, but it's real. And it's mine. If you have ever gone through something like this, I'd love to hear your comments. And if this story touched you even slightly, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell.